Hello, my name is Dominique Hurley, and today I would like to show you how to use a pendulum, which is a great little intuitive tool. Here it is. This is the one I have in my purse in case the necklace I'm wearing around my neck is not suitable as a pendulum on that day, but usually I always use the necklace I've got around my neck. And it's another way of getting in touch with your body's sensory intelligence. I teach in one of my blog posts, and I'll include the link below, a yes expansion, contraction, no way of getting in touch with your body, what it's saying, whether it's, what food is right to eat or where it's appropriate to stop or things like that. So your body is always giving you a yes, no, even, when you have choices on what to do this weekend. And so we often use it unconsciously, but there's ways of using it consciously to start developing those intuitive muscles. And it's also a way, some of you may be familiar with muscle testing, where you're holding a medicine or a food, and someone who's been trained can do the muscle testing. They press down on your wrist. If it's healthy for you, you're strong. If it's not good for you, all of a sudden you have absolutely no strength. And that's another way. But the pendulum is a great little way. So the first thing you want to do is establish with your pendulum what your yes and what your no is, which direction is which. And the way I learned to do it is that you ask that every time, because I'm told that it can actually change the direction for you, although in the many years that I've been using it, it has never changed for me. So what you do is you hold it and make sure that your spine is straight and that the energy is flowing, that your chin's a little down, and you're basically concentrating and asking, dear God and guiding spirits, angels of light and love, guide me on my path to my highest good, or whatever way that you ask your higher self and team of divine helpers for help. And then you ask it to show you a clear yes. And for me, it's always clockwise. And it can be a little one like this, or it can be, I'm just exaggerating it now, but sometimes it can be really, really strong, like depending on the question you ask and what you're doing. And then you say, show me a clear no. And there it goes, counterclockwise for me. And then it just keeps going. I can tell as soon as it's starting to change direction, so I can get a quick yes or no before it's even gone into the full swing. And then you ask, is this a good time for me to ask a question? And you get a yes. If you get a no, then there's something blocking that you wouldn't be getting a right rating, and so you just don't do it at that time. And then when I was traveling, basically, before I went on my trip, what I did is I asked, looking at a map, there was over 100 places that I could stay on Cape Breton. I said, okay, is it in my highest interest to stay on the left side of the island? And I got a no. Is it on my highest interest to stay on the right side of the island? No. Then I said yes to the center. And so I would basically put my finger on one of the little dots, and then I would get a no, 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 maybe no, 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 and then I got a yes. And when it was a yes, I just basically clicked on that dot, found out that it was the Broadwater Inn, and called them, made a reservation, and it turned out to be absolutely perfect, of course, because it was guided. Another example is I use this, grocery shopping, or if I'm not in tune with my body. And an example of not being in tune with your body and aware of what's happening, or just because your head is too involved. For example, when I was driving in Cape Breton late at night, wondering where I was being guided to sleep, because I really wanted to know where I was going to sleep that night. It was already around 8 o'clock, and I'd been driving into the thick fog and rain. And I got to Shady Camp, or Chitika in French, I'm not sure. It's an Acadian town in Cape Breton. And when I was there, I stopped in the parking lot of every bed and breakfast hotel or little cabins in town. And I said, is this where I meant to stay? And it was no, 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 no. And so instead of trying to get that sense of yes or no, I was, a little not panicked. I was trusting where I was being guided. And so I just kept going. And then I was directed to go, without the pendulum, I got a strong sense, turn right onto the island in Chitika, and ended up in a campground in a beautiful little cabin with the oceanside view, and had a fantastic morning the next morning walking on the beach. And so basically that's how you use your pendulum, as a yes, no, and then the trick is not to double question it. For example, if it says yes and you really wanted to stay there because you thought that's where you needed, are you sure this is not where I want to stay? Are you really, really sure? if you keep doing that, it will become an ineffective tool. It won't give you a clear answer. Your team of divine helpers, your higher self, is going to stop playing with you in that way. And so you can ask your question once, if you want a confirmation, you can ask the opposite, or things like that, but don't keep asking the same thing over and over and over again. But this is a great way to choose what flights you're going to be on, or basically almost anything, knowing that what you're asking is for your highest good.